Dentro de las trincheras.
Inside the trenches.
Inside the trenches.
Dentro de las trincheras.
Hello, somebody. Welcome to another episode of Inside the Trenches. It's your host, Marlon Favorite, and we're live here in the Loyola Studios, baby, right off of the draft weekend. And I have here with me the coolest co-host in the city of New Orleans, my main man, CL NOLA. We got so much to get into today. Before we get into all the good stuff, I want to send a big shout out to our production team, UP, Damian, Hannah Montana, Hannah West, DJ Spin, holding us down every week, 6:30 to 8:30, right here at the Loyola Studios. And I also want to take this time to thank our sponsors as well, Conquer Sports Pros, Montero Motors, Robert Wolf and Construction, and of course, Lamarck Ford Crescent City. And our new sponsor on board, Health Nut System. Shouts out to the Health Nut System.
Yeah, you're right.
Stillbody.org if you're trying to get all sexy for the summer. So we got a lot to get into today, CL. Obviously, this NFL draft, we got to recap it here in this first segment. We're going to get into what I like to call the Shedeur draft story. Love to give my take on that. And then we'll be joined by Mario Jerez later on in the show to talk to us about the NBA draft coming up here, talk a little Pels with us. And, of course, we got to break down this Saints draft by grading it. So, CL, let's start off with the draft. I texted you earlier, like, the top 10 teams who had the best value in this year's draft. By DraftKings. This isn't my list. I was just surfing the net, and I thought DraftKings had a very interesting take on their top 10. CL, they have the Falcons at the top of this list.
And that's when they lost me. I mean, as soon as I saw the Falcons at the list, I was like, wait, huh?
And what did they do that at, huh?
Did they not trade back in to get a guy that was supposedly going to drop to the 28s anyway? To double up on edge,
yeah,
and gave up what 2 picks to get back up. So they overshot their shot for the guy that was gonna drop straight to him. So I don't understand how they see that at number one.
Well, let's talk
respectfully.
Respectfully. So I will reveal the top 10 teams who had the best draft value in this year's class of 2025. Since I started with the Falcons, according to CL, they really can't, right? They are at the top of this list, so I'll just work it from 1 down to 10. So at 2, you got the Browns, 3 Cleveland. That makes a lot of sense. The Eagles at 4, they had a lot of value. I figured they would be a little higher on DraftKings list. At 5, you had the Giants. You had the Chiefs at 6, the Bucks at 7, which they did an exceptional job in the draft.
Right.
The Steelers, the Ravens, and of course the Bills. Those are the top 10 teams based off the value in their draft in this year's draft, made the right decisions. Let's talk about Atlanta since we brought them up. We got to give credit what credit is due. they did get 2 exceptional edge rushers. Well, I would say pass rushers because technically, when you look at their pick, I want to say who was last? Who came first?
Pierce came last.
Pierce came
That's
last.
who they traded up to come get.
Right, they went up to get Pierce. So they had Jalen Walker from Georgia.
Yeah.
And then they traded up to go get Pierce. These are 2 edge rushers, not your prototypical defensive ends. They're more of your linebacker hybrids. I think Pierce is like 240.
Yeah,
Wore number 27. It didn't look like he didn't look fat in the jersey, right? It was 27 for so you had him there, CL. So I mean, you got to get that. That's not bad, bro.
Not really, because if you really wrap your mind around it, what did they go do? They got 2 edges, not necessarily D ends, 2 edges. Edges are known to be lighter and not as aggressive in the run game. What did they lose in the offseason? They lost Grady Jackson in the middle.
Okay.
So quintessentially, they'll light up the middle. They have the edges. Let's just say these guys are successful. They have the edges, but they can't stop the run up the middle. They haven't replaced Grady Jackson. They didn't even address the Grady Jackson situation. So once again, I'm not sure why they put Falcons at the top for value.
You know why? Probably because they only had 4 picks. So with their 4 picks, you know, I guess the less amount of mistakes you can make, the better it is for you.
Well, Pierce was a mistake.
I don't think Pierce at 26. You thought that was a mistake?
The compensation was the mistake.
I see what you're saying for what they gave up for him.
Correct.
But hold on though, right? You're trying to establish yourself in the NFC South. You want to do it the right way. You're gonna have to go get some guys to get after the quarterback. And I'm sorry, they had 5 picks. They did get Xavier Watts, safety from Notre Dame. They had Billy Broman Jr. out of Oklahoma and at safety. And then, you know, you want to shore up your offensive line. They went and got Jack Nelson from Wisconsin.
So they didn't address the middle of the field. They didn't address the D tackle position. They didn't address the loss of Grady Jackson, quite possibly the best D tackle in Atlanta Falcon history.
Oh, man, okay.
They're still susceptible to the run up the middle, even with let's just say the edges are all world. They're still not stopping the run up the middle if they're edges. So once again, I don't see the correlation of them being number 1.
I guess if you look at it from the perspective, and I'm not justifying them being at number 1, because I think Cleveland is up there.
Of course, I agree. I agree.
Cleveland, which they're second on this list, which, I mean, I understand it from the perspective of why they're high on the list.
And I'm going to tell you how they messed up. They could have been even higher.
Right. But let's address Atlanta real quick. And look, we're not, shouts out to my crew here, ESPN Baton Rouge. Listen, we ain't showing Atlanta no love.
Not at all.
A few LSU players, but we're just looking at, because the way I view this, CL, and I don't know if you look at it the same way, these are the teams that we see twice a year.
Definitely.
So they make the biggest impact on your roster.
For
so
sure.
Let's look at Atlanta from a defensive line standpoint.
Okay.
Key departures, they did lose
Grady Jackson.
And I don't know why my computer's going slow.
They also lost edge on the outside, 15, New England.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
Mine slips me. The departures always get me. I'm like, who did they lose? Oh, but let's talk about who they do have. They have David Onyemata still, one of their linemen. They're running a 3-man front. They just bring in Jalen Walker.
Which plays edge?
Which explains that you have Morgan Fox undrafted. Yeah, so they didn't, because they got Ruka, what was that? Or Horn Horo? I can't even pronounce his name, but he was a 2nd-round draft pick, nose guard, coming in 2024. So, yeah, I see where you're going at with this, CL.
And they let Simmons walk, the safety that walked up to help them in run support, to try to replace him with 2 rookie safeties. Man, this
CL got a point.
This defense ain't going to be able to stop a snot in the cool.
DraftKings, CL got a point. I don't know.
Man.
All right, Browns. Let's talk about it. To me, the Browns showed off in this draft. They took. Listen, even if you and I can't wait to hear your mess. You know where they messed up at. But I mean, if you look at the amount of value that they got through the draft, let's go through the picks. Why don't we? Mason Graham first. To me, I felt like he was the best interior D tackle in his entire draft.
He was.
Then in the second round, they had 2 picks in the second round. It gets great with this. They go to UCLA. They get Carlson Swinger. You did talk about him drafting. Now, if we go back and listen to the tape, you did.
David Terminator. I was so impressed with this young man. He was a walk-on at UCLA. Came in. I mean, depends on your era or when you grew up. You always had these long hair cats that played linebacker in the locker room on the team, and you know they play with their hair on fire and they always downhill. This young man was a tackling machine. I was interested in him definitely for this draft, but we ended up wanting him up and getting a true tackling machine later on. But later on, we'll discuss that with
I can't wait to get to see y'all. Be sure to stick around because segment 4, we will reveal the inside the trenches grade of the draft, or at least one of the guys, because one of the other half of the show didn't want to do it. But anyway, Cleveland did it like you said. Shrine. These 5-syllable names. Schweinswinger. Squine West Swinger.
UCLA linebacker.
There you go here. And then you went Quishon Junkins. From via Ole Miss to Ohio State.
And I would love to tell a story about this young man. This young man led the SEC in rushing while he was at Ole Miss. For the last 3 years, he took his last available year because everybody got an extra year for COVID. A lot of guys, and you'll hear that story more and more times than not as the COVID years have pushed on. You'll hear guys using that last COVID year to maybe do another shot somewhere else. He decides his last year to go play at Ohio State. Has a subpar year, but respectable. He could possibly be the new Nick Chubb in Cleveland. You heard it here first.
But much more shifty, right? Nick Chubb was more of a
he's
downhill.
He's a big boy now.
Yeah, he was big, but
he not lighting the lunch pail.
Nah, but I mean, in Junkins, working for LSU Sports Radio, we had a chance to see him. He could catch it from out the backfield. They motioned him a lot to the slot. He got funky there. They also went tight end from Bowling Green, Fannin Jr. With their 3rd round pick. Dylan Gabriel, they also went quarterback. Dylan Gabriel, very controversial pick. We'll for certainly talk about that. I mean, according to the world, Mason Graham was a was a controversial pick, right?
Don't even get me started.
Right, and of course Dylan Sampson, running back out of Tennessee. You go get another running back just to show up that room, and then probably one of the more controversial but easy go picks, Shedeur Sanders with their 6th pick and last pick in the 5th round. This has been one heck of a roller coaster ride, and it makes plenty of sense why Cleveland was there. And y'all stick around next segment. We're going to talk a little bit about Shedeur Sanders as well. I mean, so much to look at with this, CL. As we wrap up this segment, who you think was the biggest winner in this year's draft?
Wow. Well, I personally don't like to give grades this early before guys actually put footballs in their hand and put on uniforms. If it works out like it should, the way it's set up, I think it's Cleveland.
It's Cleveland. I have to agree with you.
But I will say Cleveland still messed up. Cleveland had a chance to have Travis and Shedeur. Because if they stay right where they at 2, you draft Travis. You don't even have to trade up. You miss out on Graham. And I'm sure you can convince the dog pound to miss out on Graham to get a likings of a Travis Hunter. But at the same time, you understand what they did. But they could have had Travis Hunter at 2 and then obviously getting Shedeur at 144.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into where things could have shaped a little better for just the entire scope of the draft, the way everything got skipped over Shedeur.
Yeah, and not to play with Cleveland, but what are we doing in Cleveland? You're trying to sell tickets, baby. You play the Baltimore Ravens 2 times a year. You play the Pittsburgh Steelers no matter what's the quarterback, no matter who the running back, they still win 10 games and make it to the playoffs every year. Yeah. You're playing the Cincinnati Bengals 2 times a year. What do you really expect from the Cleveland Browns but to give you a good showing, right? Mm-hmm. So they got the people now. They got a show now.
No doubt. And if you look across the draft as well, other teams that pretty much added value. And then if y'all are just tuning in to Inside the Trenches, we're recapping the NFL draft. Who was the biggest losers? We talked about DraftKings and who they felt were their top 10 picks, teams of the draft that pick exceptionally well. But I'm looking at the Arizona Cardinals as another team that was one of the biggest winners in this draft too. Will Johnson, who was arguably one of the better cornerbacks in this draft, fell to the second round. 15 pick, they picked it and was able to get him. They shored up their edge with Jordan Bruch out of Oregon, defensive end, edge rusher, Cody Simmons. They went linebacker, Ohio State. Then they went back to Ohio State to get Birkin, the cornerback, who fell to the 5th round. Right. Hayden Counter, offensive guard from Texas. He was just in the college football playoffs. So, I mean, you go and look at Arizona, and then I like, of course, what they did with their first-round pick, Walter Nolan. Shouts out to Walt.
Big boy.
Yeah, so get this, small world. Walt's girlfriend is my chef's daughter.
Wow. Okay.
So Chef Gason hit me up like, man, you know my little son-in-law, he about to get drafted high. And I'm like, wait, from Ole Miss? Yeah, so I gave him a little video.
Texas A&M, huh?
You know, he was at Ole Miss.
Right, but
before that, he was at Texas A&M, if I'm not mistaken.
Old Aggie.
Right. That's a good point. I just thought about that. So big ups to him. I mean, so
congratulations, young man.
What they got? Big dog defensive lineman. They got an edge rusher. They got arguably one of the better cornerbacks in this draft. So, I mean, you address a lot on defense.
Yeah, and that has to hold true for them. Will Johnson from Michigan, he dropped for a reason. Mm-hmm. Some people said he was dealing with the turf toe. Yeah. Some people said it was a groin. It was something, right? Yeah. We'll never know because we all know the rumors and the BS that goes on during the draft. We'll never know for sure, but if he holds to be true, if that holds to be true, if he, if he's 100% healthy or will become 100% healthy, I definitely could see that.
So I'm going to bring this question to you before we wrap this segment. Who do you think were the biggest losers in this year's draft? Losers. Didn't do well on the...
Honestly, I would have to say the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ooh, that's a good point. Elaborate, please.
Well, I mean, I think it's obvious that they missed on Shedeur, right? Mm-hmm. In the sense of, now, whatever Shedeur becomes is what he becomes. But when was the last time Pittsburgh did what they did? They had Roethlisberger as a statue quarterback. Shedeur is clearly not a statue, but get it, a pocket passer. I hope you're feeling me on that. A pocket passer quarterback that'll stand in the pocket and deliver the football. They haven't had that since Ben has left. They had a chance to address that several times. I just can't believe that Mason Rudolph is your starter day one, and the only way they rectify this, the only way they show face or get grace in this situation is if Aaron Rodgers actually decides to be a Pittsburgh Steelers.
I have to look at that. I mean,
it has to happen.
I mean, and look, this wasn't on a production sheet, but I'm just looking throughout the draft. New York didn't do horrible. The Vikings addressed some things. Minnesota did. Miami. It has to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not only do you pass on Shedeur at 21, somebody who could really shape your franchise up.
And on a rookie deal.
And yet on a rookie deal, you still have a question mark at quarterback. Now, there is a little light at the end of the tunnel. They did end up getting the national champion at pick 9 in the 6th round.
Yeah.
So bringing in Will Howard does bring a bit of spunk to their offense. And if he beats out Mason Rudolph, which more than likely he should, hello somebody, it's Inside the Trenches, baby. We're going to take a quick break here. When we get back, we're going to talk a little bit about the Shedeur Sanders story. So, I mean, I guess a little bit of what we spoke about in the draft may roll into this as well. But, yeah, the Shedeur Sanders story, I mean, that's the beautiful part of this show being in the evening time, right? We can let all the dust settle in, let everybody talk, and then we can kind of give one of those recaps that some of you may have heard earlier, but I think our take will be very interesting. And we will be joined by my main man, Shelton Jordan from Lamarck Ford Crescent City. He's going to join the conversation. He played in college ball, played at Notre Dame. I love to hear his take on this as well. But we also want to take this time to thank Robert Wolf in Construction, located at 143 Lapalco Boulevard, right there in Gretna, Louisiana. Call Robert Wolf Construction if you are looking to elevate your home. Some of y'all might need to redo your home elevation, or this is your first time doing it because of the ferocious weather here in Louisiana.
It's coming.
It's not bad, baby. Call 504-393-2445. Let them know that you heard about them right here on Inside the Trenches. We'll be back, baby. Y'all hang around right here on ESPN Baton Rouge. Hello, somebody.
Inside the Trenches.
Dentro de las trincheras.
Inside the trenches.
Inside the Trenches.
Dentro de las trincheras.
Real estate for your real estate and construction needs. And let them know you heard about them on Inside the Trenches with Marlon Favorite on ESPN New Orleans. Hello, somebody.
Hi, it's Alberto Montero. We got a great selection of vehicles in and out of here on a daily basis. We offer financing, all Carfaxes are online, and all our vehicles are serviced and inspected before sale. Best selection and prices in all of the New Orleans metro area. Come visit us today at 1512 North Causeway in the heart of Metairie. Come check us out at MonteroMotors.com.
Montero Motors, a proud sponsor of Inside the Trenches, ESPN New Orleans.
Hello, I'm Shelton Jordan with Lamar Crescent City Ford. If you are in need of a commercial vehicle, I'm here to help. From F-150s to Super Duty trucks or chassis to cargo vans, passenger vans, or if you're in need of a vehicle to be upfitted, we can build it especially for you. Or if you're looking for a truck or SUV, I can also help you at Lamar Ford Store in Kenner. Feel free to call me at 504-734-3579 and ask for Shelton. Lamar Crescent City Ford is a proud partner of Inside the Trenches on ESPN.
trenches.
Inside the trenches.
Dentro de las trincheras.
Inside the trenches.
Inside the trenches.
Dentro de las trincheras.
Inside the trenches.
Inside the trenches.
Dentro de las trincheras.
Inside the trenches.
Inside the trenches.
Dentro de las trincheras.
the trenches.
Inside the trenches.
Dentro de las trincheras.
Or real estate services, project management services, give us a call at 504-393-2445.
Well, hello. Like Rob just said, hit up Robert Wolf Construction and Real Estate for your real estate and construction needs. And let them know you heard about them on Inside the Trenches with Marlon Favorite on ESPN New Orleans. Hello, somebody.
Hi, it's Alberto Montero. We got a great selection of vehicles in and out of here on a daily basis. We offer financing, all Carfaxes are online, and all our vehicles are serviced and inspected before sale. Best selection and prices in all of the New Orleans metro area. Come visit us today at 1512 North Causeway in the heart of Metairie. Come check us out at MonteroMotors.com.
Montero Motors, a proud sponsor of Inside the Trenches, ESPN New Orleans.
Hello, I'm Shelton Jordan with Lamar Crescent City Ford. If you are in need of a commercial vehicle, I'm here to help. From F-150s to Super Duty trucks or chassis to cargo vans, passenger vans, or if you're in need of a vehicle to be upfitted, we can build it especially for you. Or if you're looking for a truck or SUV, I can also help you at Lamar Ford Store in Kenner. Feel free to call me at 504-734-3579 and ask for Shelton. Lamar Crescent City Ford is a proud partner of Inside the Trenches on ESPN.
Hello.
Inside the trenches.
Dentro de las trincheras.
Inside the trenches.
Inside the trenches.
Dentro de las trincheras.
trenches.
That is right, beautiful people. Welcome back to Inside the Trenches. It's your host, Marlon Favorite, and we're live here at the Loyola Studios, baby, in beautiful uptown New Orleans. I have my co-host with me, CL NOLA, and as we promised, we was going to give our take on the Shedeur Sanders draft pick and where he got drafted and, you know, all the, I'm going to say, takes behind what happened. And to help us do that, we're joined by one of our sponsors. We just brought their name up earlier, Lamar Ford Crescent City. Shelton Jordan's very own fleet manager over there is going to talk to us a little bit on this subject as well. So, Shelton, since you're the guest on the set, we'll start with you. Shedeur Sanders, for our viewers that's just finding this out, Shedeur Sanders did fall to the 100 and I want to say 44th pick overall to the Cleveland Browns. When the pick happened, what was your initial thoughts?
When the pick happened, I was just happy he finally got taken off of the board. In my opinion, he was the best quarterback in the draft. I thought he was better than Cam Ward as well. So I was just happy that he, you know, the runaround that they were giving him. You know, we all know the reasons why he went 144. He's a first-round draft pick. If he didn't go in the first round, none of them should have gone in the first round. But in my opinion, it was a statement that the NFL wanted to make. For whatever reason, I guess they don't appreciate young, black, confident players. He was, you know, he's outspoken. His father's Deion Sanders, so he's very outspoken, but at the same time, he's very humble. There are plenty of people that I know that have met him that says, you know, how nice he was, how humble he was. But because he has this perception of being Deion's son and being brash and telling you, you know, it kind of reminds me of maybe a young Muhammad Ali, not in the sense that he's going to be great, but in the sense that, you know, he's willing to tell you what he thinks of himself, and you know, he's planning to back it up. I could go on and on about this, man. The fact that, you know, someone like a Baker Mayfield got into all kind of trouble, but he was viewed as confident. Somebody like Johnny Manziel, who got into all kind of stuff and made a documentary about it and told the world all the crazy stuff he was doing, he was looked at as confident. Wow. But this kid's not confident. He's cocky. And there's a reason behind that, you know? So that's the reason he went 144. I'm just hoping that he proves everybody wrong. He's set up to fail. Mm-hmm. Anybody that goes to Cleveland knows you're set up to fail. So the weather's not going to help you. The front office is not going to help you. So, you know, he's set up to fail. But we'll see, because if you look at the quarterbacks they have on that roster, Joe Flacco's, you know, father time's about to catch him, whether it's this year or next year. He's got to beat out the guy Gabriel from Oregon. And then he's got another guy that couldn't make it in Pittsburgh, that went to Pitt. I can't think of his name.
Kenny Pickett, implant.
Kenny Pickett. So, I mean, that's more than, you know, he's more than capable of winning that job, whether it's at the day one or whether it's week 8. So, you know, I think he just has to do what he has to do, take care of business, and I think the rest will play itself out.
If y'all are just tuning in to Inside the Trenches, we're joined by Fleet Manager right over there at your favorite spot to buy vehicles at down here in the boot, baby, Lamarck Ford Crescent City. Y'all make sure y'all hit Shelton Jordan up at 504-734-3579. Tell them that you heard about them right here on Inside the Trenches. And Shell made some pretty good points. He basically summed up what we've been thinking the entire time, what we all been feeling. But I do believe that there is always some type of silver lining in a dark cloud, and he just nailed it. You couldn't have asked to go to a better place. Like, I would rather be you than Jackson Dart, right? Russell may very well have one of them Russell years, and you still be a backup. But Father Time's catching up with Joe Flacco. You battle it out with someone that you felt you performed better with on a college level. When you think about what Shelton just mentioned and Shedeur landing that spot there in Cleveland, no matter where it's at, it's a good opportunity for him.
Yeah, I look at it kind of two ways. Sheldon kind of took my steam with the comparisons of Baker Mayfield because they did like what Baker was doing, and they ended up drafting him number 1, ironically, by the Cleveland Browns. But I'll give you another story and another movie that we've seen before. There's an amazing quarterback that played for Florida State that they decided could not play in the NFL, and not only did he drop, they literally did not draft him at all. So we've seen
Ward.
The great Charlie Ward. The great Charlie Ward. And for all the kids that don't know, Google him. Even check out his 30
He
for
ended
30.
up playing basketball, right?
Yeah, he ended up playing for the Knicks, you know.
Right.
So when the NFL decides what they decide, it's collusion. Because no matter how you feel about it, none of the owners in the National Football League look anything like any of us. So when they make a decision, it's a decision of all of them. And I even go even deeper with it. The owners, all other 31 owners, because we also know that the Haslett family of the Cleveland Browns, they ended up drafting Shedeur. We realize that all the other 31 owners are still pissed off with the Cleveland Browns for giving that $235 million guarantee contract to a Watson, making people like a Watson, people that look like a Watson, think that they're actually worth $235 million guaranteed. So now you had to deal with the Lamar Jackson that felt like he deserved that type of money. So the Cleveland Browns have as always made dire mistakes, but I think this time they made the right choice, because at the end of the deal, Shedeur is only on a 4-year rookie deal. If somebody wants to come trade for him, it won't be much compensation. Yeah. There's also no pressure for him to play now. Right. And ask yourself this, and I'll leave with this. If the second-string quarterback barely gets reps at practice, how many reps do you think the third and fourth quarterback get?
It's crucial. And being Division I players, me and Sheldon, and then even playing on the next level, one thing that you notice is if you come in on a practice squad or late round draft pick, that's how you're going to be treated. So you have to over-exceed everything. Sheldon, how much of this, one more question before we let you go, how much does this have to do with the NFL saying, all right, Prime, you one of our top 100s of all time, but you don't have any say-so in our organization? A lot of early draft release of their interviews of Tamron Hall, Dion said, I'm choosing where he goes, and how confident Shedeur was at the combine. He was like, hey, if you don't want to change your culture, your program, you don't draft me. So how much of that did they, shoot themselves in the foot with?
I think that had a lot to do with it. Dion came out and said his kid was only going to play for a handful of teams. He named a few, the Raiders, Cowboys, Giants. I think he put the Saints in there. But I think some of it had to do with which teams actually needed quarterbacks compared to, him just saying that a lot of these teams are bad franchises. He made a comment which came back up. I think it was back in 2018, where he said he liked the things that the Browns were doing, but if his kid got drafted to the Browns, and this is paraphrasing, he said something like, I would not let my kid play there. Right. So I think, ironically, that his kid ended up with the Browns, and he's not going to feel that way. So I kind of think that that's the NFL saying, go ahead, Cleveland, you take him and see if he eats those words or not.
Right.
Wow.
Well, I mean, there's so many ways to look at this. If any team would have drafted Shedeur in the first round, they would have had to guarantee him a rookie contract of $42 million. With him being drafted in the fifth round, they only have to pay him a rookie deal, which probably estimates about $4 million. Mm-hmm. So just the fact that not wanting him feeling like, okay, well, he rich already, not wanting to give him the bag, not wanting to guarantee him the money. And once again, I feel like the Sanders clan has a case for collusion because it takes all of the owners to agree. Because we can sit here and talk about the New Orleans Saints, we can talk about the Cleveland Browns, but let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin didn't draft Shedeur Sanders. He needs a quarterback.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Miami Dolphins. You're telling me the Miami Dolphins don't need a backup quarterback, knowing that Tua is nothing but a snap away?
Right.
You're telling me that the New York Jets and Aaron Glenn don't – you going with Justin Fields at starting quarter? You don't need a Shedeur Sanders in the 4th round, 3rd round?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, CL makes a great point, Sheldon. I mean, it at some point, and then you look at the quality of veteran free agents. That pool isn't really nice, right? I mean, you have Aaron Rodgers, you have guys like Teddy Bridgewater. Tannehill is just sitting in this deal. What's your boy from Huntley, Tyler Huntley? Like, it's not a huge quality of
Jordan
quarterbacks that has experience sitting around, right? You talk about you said Levis.
Yeah,
Will Levis. But he's still under contract.
He will be. He'll be available.
But that's what I'm saying. Oh yeah, you gonna have there's gonna be some cuts.
Right.
But you see,
So will Kirk Cousins.
as far as the draft goes, Sheldon, like that's all you had to get who you had to get. It just wasn't a good quality group of quarterbacks, not only in the draft but in the free agency period. Yeah.
Well, the thing I want to leave with, Fave, is when he got past Cleveland at 33 and Cleveland at 35, I just knew the Saints were going to take him.
Right.
Like, oh, here we go. This is your time to take him right here at 40. Right. And they instead go with a guy who's 25 years old, who's had 2 season-ending injuries. And, now, Mel Kiper is going to say, oh, I had him rated as the 3rd best. And, all that's easy to say now. But, that's still not a reason that this kid didn't get drafted way higher than he did.
You know what blows my mind?
CL said, 3rd round, 4th round, he definitely should have gone day 2, no doubt about it.
You know what blows my mind, Shelton? Only around the NFL draft is when they decide to turn the tape off and just let opinions lead. Only around the NFL draft.
Nah, see, I made a good point. Man, Sheldon, before we let you go, brother, on this show we always talk about the different vehicles y'all have available. I know that the range of Baton Rouge's audience stretches throughout the state. One thing that's happening a lot in this region, period, is a lot of new construction, infrastructure, and they're going to need new trucks. So, man, what y'all got over there on the lot?
So just so your audience knows, Fave, we are in Harahan, Louisiana. We do business all over the country. We are actually able to deliver anywhere in South Louisiana. So give me a call. Again, my number is 504-734-3579. I have some hot deals right now. I got 3 F-350 dump bodies. It's a rugby dump body with 3 to 4 yards. Marked down $14,000 to $66,595. Again, that's a F-350 dump body, 3 to 4 yards, $66,595. I have a crane truck, a F600 Liftmore crane with an 8,000-pound crane. That's marked down $28,000 to $157,000.
Man,
wow.
And then the last one for the regular Joe, I got a 2024 F-150 extended cab, 4-wheel drive with the 3.5 EcoBoost engine, 10-speed transmission. That's marked down $85,000. $8,500, $49,000 plus tax, title, license. So give me a call if you're interested in anything on our lot. You can check us out at LamarckCrescent4Trucks.com. And again, my phone number is 504-734-3579. I appreciate my customers, and come and see what we can do for you.
Y'all heard it first right here on the show. Look, look at those deals, right? And this time, in this climate right here, y'all make sure y'all hit my boy up once again. They're right there in Harahan, Lamar Crescent City Ford. That number again is 504-734-3579. Fleet Manager Shelton. And he'll sit there and talk a little Saints with you too, because I'm pretty sure he won't get a little more at his take, but he gonna definitely make sure you leave that lot with the vehicle you need. Shelton, man, I know y'all had a busy day today. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, baby.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Yes, indeed. Well, we're just getting things started right here. We're going to take a quick break, just a little quick break, and when we come back, we're playing basketball. Come on, we're playing basketball. Well, look, the NFL draft is over, but we still have the NBA draft. I have my man Mario Jerez talk a little NBA with us, but we're going to say what the Pels are going to do. What the Pelly?
What the Pelly?
What the Pelly? What's going on with the Pels? They got a new boss in town, man. Joe Dumas, NBA legend. Yeah. So I can't wait to hear from Mario with that. Again, y'all stay tuned. We're right here on ESPN Baton Rouge, YouTube, as we do every Monday, baby. Y'all hang around. Hello, somebody. We'll be right back.
Hello, somebody. This is Robert Wolf. If you are in need of construction or real estate services, project management services, give us a call at 504-393-2445.
Well, hello. Like Rob just said, hit up Robert Wolf Construction and Real Estate for your real estate and construction needs. And let them know you heard about them on Inside the Trenches with Marlon Favorite on ESPN New Orleans. Hello, somebody.
Hi, it's Alberto Montero. We got a great selection of vehicles in and out of here on a daily basis. We offer financing, all Carfaxes are online, and all our vehicles are serviced and inspected before sale. Best selection and prices in all of the New Orleans metro area. Come visit us today at 1512 North Causeway in the heart of Metairie. Come check us out at MonteroMotors.com.
Montero Motors, a proud sponsor of Inside the Trenches, ESPN New Orleans.
Hello, I'm Shelton Jordan with Lamar Crescent City Ford. If you are in need of a commercial vehicle, I'm here to help. From F-150s to Super Duty trucks or chassis to cargo vans, passenger vans, or if you're in need of a vehicle to be upfitted, we can build it especially for you. Or if you're looking for a truck or SUV, I can also help you at Lamar Ford Store in Kenner. Feel free to call me at 504-734-3579 and ask for Shelton. Lamar Crescent City Ford is a proud partner of Inside the Trenches on ESPN.
Hello, somebody. This is Robert Wolf.
Inside the trenches.
Inside the trenches.
Dentro de las trincheras.
Inside the trenches.
Inside the trenches.
Dentro de las trincheras.
Inside the trenches.
Inside the trenches.
Dentro de las trincheras.
Inside the trenches.
Inside the trenches.
Well, welcome back, baby. It is Inside the Trenches. I'm your host, Marlon Favorite. And guess what? Y'all Monday nights will never be the same, baby, because Inside the Trenches is live right here on ESPN's Baton Rouge's live YouTube app. You definitely go check out your YouTube and type in Inside the Trenches, ESPN Baton Rouge. This show will pop up. You'll get to see CL rocking the latest fashion. I'll come in here plain Jane. And we'll usually have ourselves a great guest like we do right now. My good friend, Mario Jerez. Mario gonna talk a little Pels, NFL, NBA draft. Well, he gonna stick around. We're gonna talk a little NFL after this segment as well. But man, Mario, welcome back to the show, brother.
What's good, Big Fave? What's good, CL? Always good chopping it up with you guys, man. I was telling CL in the hallway, man, it was a rough year for the Saints and the Pelicans, so it's good they both have top 10 picks, and it's good they could both try to flip the page, because this year sucked, man, for both teams. Not going to lie to you.
It did. Follow Mario at Mario_E_Jerez on X. Mario, I guess just give our viewers a recap of what the Pel season really was. What the Pelly? Like, what they, just for the person that might have caught maybe one or two of the Pels game, heard they sucked, and wonder why they suck, they can hear from you right now.
Sure. So, in my opinion, this last season for the Pelicans was basically a last-ditch effort for David Griffin to save his job and kind of, redo the trajectory of this team. They made the big trade. They send Larry Nance and Dyson Daniels, who's up for Defensive Player of the Year, all to Atlanta for DeJounte Murray. And if you would have told me he is never going to spend a single minute on the court with Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson, which is what happened. Those guys never played one single minute together. I could have told you this season would have went the way that it did. And, there's a lot of varying opinions about Dumars coming in, about Willie Green staying. That's surprising to some people. But at the end of the day, it was kind of a last-ditch effort for that version of the Pelicans, and it failed. And now they have a lot of important decisions coming up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, brother, that is so true. And, like you said, we was speaking in the hallway, and when you mentioned that it sucked, and I reminded you that I had a first front row seat to all of it. I have been told through the grapevine that Dumars will retain a Willie, but maybe not in that same position, right? Maybe in the upper office, but definitely not a head coach. In your opinion, and I hate to put you on the spot right now, but you're so very good at what you do, brother.
I appreciate that.
Who would you think is the first two candidates for the Pelicans in Joe Dumars' search?
If they were not going to keep Willie Green, I would think they'd take a really hard look at James Borrega, who's the lead assistant coach for the Pelicans. And he does have head coaching experience. He coached some teams in Charlotte at the beginning of LaMelo Ball's career, and had some decent teams win-loss-wise, had some good offenses, which is kind of his claim to fame as a coach. So if they do go a different direction, whether it's at the start of the season or during the season, if they choose to move on from Willie, I'm pretty sure that is where they're going to go, unless he gets another NBA job, and I don't see him getting any interviews right now. So that would be the case. That being said, based on everything he said, at least going into the season, I would think Willie is going to be the head coach. That being said, the question is how much rope is he going to have this season, you know? Because Dumars is going to come in. He's going to do an honest evaluation. He's probably going to go player by player and ask them how they feel about Willie Green. But eventually the season will come. He'll get to see all that come to fruition on the court, and he'll make an evaluation of whether or not this is the guy they want to keep leading this basketball team.
I know one thing that these players are going to have to be able to do is sustain and have stamina and work out. And I'm going somewhere with this. I want to take this moment to thank our new sponsor, Health Nut System. Definitely the smart way to fuel your body. Be sure to check out Dr. Andrews' new product, Still Body. Check it out at stillbody.org. You know, I know y'all been kind of checking out my Instagram, saw the little six-packs in my stories, you know what I'm saying? That's before I eat that breakfast. But I also got those good products. Big shout out to our new sponsor, Health Nut System. Hey, Mario, the draft is coming up. When you put on your GM hat and you're forced to think like Joe Dumars, do you build around Zion in the draft, or do you try to find your jewel in this year's draft and kind of build around him?
The latter of what you said. And I think a lot of people talked about whether or not there was a mandate to trade Zion, like they had to do that. I don't think that necessarily exists, but they're not going to build around the guy that they've just built around the last 6 years, and they got the last guy fired in David Griffin, right? So you just hope and pray for better injury luck with Zion, which you haven't gotten. I mean, 6 years, the guy's never finished a season on the court. So that being said, you have some good young talent. That's the difference between Pelicans teams of the past that David Griffin took over and that Dell Demps took over. You have Trey Murphy, who's an all-star caliber player. You have Herb Jones, who's an all-star caliber player, one of the best defenders. You have some upcoming young talent like Yves Missi, who had a really good rookie season. If you had a top 5 pick, a Cooper Flagg, a LJ Cryer, maybe even an Ace Bailey, you really got something going, and that's independent of Zion. Now, if Zion starts the season on the court, then maybe you really have something. But then his value gets up, then maybe you can get a better trade for Zion. Like, there are just so many variables, but that's kind of the exciting part, right? At least they are trying something different here, and hopefully they get better injury luck, which has never happened in the last 23 years. So hopefully that is the difference with this iteration of the Pelicans.
Well, you know, I think it's obvious that I'm a Pelicans fan. And I'll give you my first reaction when I heard the news of Joe Dumars coming home. I was excited for 2 reasons. First of all, I knew the relationship between Joe Dumars and Miss Benson. I knew that was a solid connection. They had been in conversation with each other over the years. I also knew that, like Mario said, Joe Dumars would give a fair assessment of each individual player, each individual situation. We all know Joe Dumars from the bad boy days of the Detroit Pistons. And I'm looking for, and I understand the latter, I'm looking for Joe Dumars to actually have a no-nonsense type of approach to this team. Yes. I think one of the mistakes that Griffin made in the past was giving Zion the all-world treatment because we have lost first-round picks. And he didn't want to alienate the star, and I think we kind of created a monster. I also think kind of like when Grubbs came in, and he mentioned that when Zion is on the court, we're a top 5 offense. And I'm just torn in the middle because I want to move on, but at the same time, I believe the new direction that Joe Dumars might point us would be something that would be buoyant for this city because we tend to flood from time to time.
Yes, and well said. And for another play on words here, that's
Right.
all fine and good, and I think he could do a better job when it comes to all that with Zion. But at the end of the day, I think the last 2 or 3 years, Zion really has made a positive change in his conditioning, his habits. If you watch Pelicans games, which you do, a lot of people talk about Zion's conditioning and don't even watch the games.
Right.
He has gotten in better shape. He's become a father in the last couple of years. Like, I have seen a positive change in him. That being said, he's still getting injured, and he can connect with Zion, but can he connect his hamstring to the bone? That's the real question that I have. And again, 6 seasons in the NBA, he has never finished a single season on the court. The apex was last year where he played 70 games. It was awesome. You're in the postseason in the playing game at home, which is awesome, and his hamstring snaps at the worst possible time. So
45 seconds.
I don't really think it's a character issue or a behavioral issue with Zion anymore. The reason I'm feeling so pessimistic is because it's been 6 years, because he has made that positive change, and because of his body. The guy's body, just using common sense, might not be conducive to playing 82 games of high-level basketball, and that's not a knock on Zion. That's a risk that the Pelicans took going in, and 6 years in, it just has not paid off. So that's one decision you'll have to make, but I think, honestly, kind of building the rest of the team and seeing what you have there is a little more important.
Yep.
Well, I think 82 games is a stretch.
Yeah.
I'm just start
It's
off
a long,
with that.
yeah.
And I'll even give New Orleans the math. We know 82 games is a joke to expect any of these guys these days to play. So you're breaking down to maybe, 65 games?
Yeah.
And then if the guy, has a Zion situation, and not to jump on Zion, but he misses 2 weeks, now you're talking about maybe 51 games, and hoping that they play 51 games. So we all know that the NBA is a war of attrition, and you have never seen a season like this in your life. I've never seen a season like this in my life, as snake bitten, not only as the New Orleans Pelican as well as the New Orleans Saints. But moving forward, what do you see moving forward for the New Orleans Pelicans? Let's just be super optimistic and say we get the #1 pick. Do you go with Cooper Fly? Yeah, I know, 12%. Yeah. So you say we got a chance?
Yeah, and hey, they had 6% when they won the Zion lottery.
Exactly.
It was
We were
like
6.
It was like 13% when they won with Anthony Davis, and honestly, that wouldn't shock me. But as a Pelicans fan, like you are, I think I'm a little traumatized by the last couple of #1 picks they had, because they haven't done anything with them, and it's been because of injury with Zion. It's been because of not building a good team around AD. They have built a good team around Zion. He just hasn't really been there. And going back to Willie Green, that's why I think he kept his job. Because honestly, I would have been okay with them letting go of Willie Green, just because I think he's regressed a little bit over the years, and there's a lot of flaws with him as a coach, like caring too much about defense, not playing the young guys. And
He cares about defense?
Hawkins and Murphy, too much in my opinion, because he plays guys like Bruce Brown over Jordan Hawkins and Antonio Reeves. That should never ever happen. That being said, he's still had some mild success without his best player, and the Pelicans deemed that it wouldn't really be fair to fire him, which is cool, but you better get rid of some of those tendencies pretty soon, or this team is going to stay in a rut. That's just my opinion.
Well, a lot of it too, guys. If y'all are just tuning in, we're going over the NBA talk with the Pelicans and with the draft coming up. We just really want to see, will this team progress here at least in the next 2 seasons? We all can say that injuries has plagued their team. Right, so that may have had a lot to do with Willie Green being able to have those extra chances. Man, hey, coach, brother to brother, look, man, I dealt with injuries. And most player coaches survive. Like right now, we're looking at the Lakers and the Timberwolves series, and shoot, right now everybody looking at head coach for the Lakers is
JJ Redick.
JJ Redick, like, man, what you doing? You got LeBron and Luka and them playing in the full quarter. You're not subbing them out. He's like, I don't have any bigs like that. I don't have nobody to sub them out with. So it's I think Willie Green probably got put in one of those situations, guys, where it's like, hey, Herb was out this year. We made the trade for Murray. He got hurt. Zion got hurt. We had to trade BI for whatever reasons. So it was that dance, and I think CL, that's probably what saved Willie Green's job.
And I feel for her. Trust me, I feel for her. There's no one at these games. There's no one at these games that sit next to me and have to deal with my emotional roller coaster for 3 hours. I feel for Herb. When we were healthy, we won 45 games. We were 7 in the West. When we wasn't, we are what we are. My problem with Herb is, My problem with Willie is, I don't like the defensive philosophy. If you want to score against the New Orleans Pelicans, you go straight to the rim.
Yes.
I didn't like. I thought it was asinine to get rid of Valanciunas because every night, no matter how many minutes Willie played him, he gave us a double-double. He was on the boards. He played defense on the bigs. So I think every time we made a progression, we regress.
That's
you know, and
that's fair, yeah.
So with that being said, I think it makes sense to have a clean slate because what's out there? You're talking about a championship coach that won in Denver 2-3 years ago. He won a championship 2-3 years ago. You're talking about the Memphis Grizzlies head coach is sitting at his house, you know, thinking about what he wants to do. And I hate to be the guy that spreads rumors, but I've heard that if Willie was to be let go, he would be consideration for the Suns' job, which is following behind where Monty got fired not too long ago.
Right.
So we understand what kind of revolving door that is.
Right.
So I would like stability. I would like a guy, and maybe it's just about a different voice in the locker room.
That could potentially
You know?
help. So, Mario, if they do decide to go that direction, first let me ask, what grade would you give Willie Green, like as a head coach? I know
throughout his whole tenure, I had to give him a C. Like, I can't give him better. I can't give him worse. Statistically, he's one of the best coaches in the history of the team. And that's a really good point about the defensive philosophies that CL was making. I was talking more about the rotations. Like, when Trey Murphy was a rookie every game, I'm like, why isn't Murphy? And why is Tony Snell?
Right.
When Jordan Hawkins is a rookie, it's like, why isn't he getting minutes? We're 28th in the league in three-pointers. This year, Antonio Reeves, in a lost season where you won 24 games, didn't even get on the court until like March or April because you were playing guys like Bruce Brown. And no disrespect to Bruce Brown, he's an NBA champion, but the team building philosophy seems flawed. Look at these young small market teams that have lapped the Pelicans. Minnesota, they have young players. Naz Reid has been instrumental for them since he was a rookie. The Thunder's average age is like 24 or 25.
Yeah.
You telling me Willie Green wouldn't have a single person on that team in the rotation? You gotta
probably. I was looking at that.
You gotta modernize a little as a head coach, and I think it's appropriate in New Orleans because when Monty Williams was fired, it was a lot of the same things. Like, he was really stubborn, and by his own admission, not until he went to Phoenix did he not humble himself. Maybe that's not the right word, but become more open-minded. Like, listen more to his players. Like, Willie Green seems like he has potential to be a great coach, but he needs to do a little bit more of that, and hopefully it is with the Pelicans and not with another team like it was with Monty.
And that's why they fired Will. They fired Monty.
Gotcha. Yeah, they did. All right, guys, let's switch gears here. We got a couple more minutes. It's NBA Finals time. We got the Lakers look like they're about to be up out of here. They 3-1. The Nuggets, Clippers, the 2-2 series. And then you look on the East. The East is always like an afterthought, right? Because it's not the better teams, right? Right now, the Indy leads the Bucks 3-1. The Knicks, they're up 3-1 over the Pistons. You know, you got 3-1 Boston up. I just feel like it's going to be in the finals. It's more than likely going to be Boston and maybe a Cleveland. Cleveland, they lead the series. But let's get into the more interesting side of the finals, and that's the action that's over here on the West. Y'all talked about how the Thunder has been bringing the Thunder, #1 in the West, young team. SGA is just lighting it up. I saw him in Drake's Nokia video. There's all kind of stuff going on. Mario, I'll start with you. Is just a walk-in for the Thunder? What team you think could give them a threat? Looks like Golden State's trying to come back and get their stripes.
Yeah, they got a big win the other night, kind of short-handed. But watch out for Houston, depending on what happens in this Game 4. Houston, I know they're a young team, but don't forget their coach took the Celtics to the finals in his very first season as a head coach there. And they're young, but they're good. They were second place in the Western Conference, so definitely watch out for them. Minnesota, I feel like, didn't have a great regular season, but they're kind of finding themselves here at the best possible time. And Anthony Edwards right now, I think, is the best young player in the NBA, and he's showing that he's surpassing Luka Doncic because he does it on both ends. So I think the media honestly made way, and I'm a known Lakers hater. I think you guys know that by now.
I'm no fan.
I think the media made way too much about the Lakers getting Luka Doncic and that making them contenders this year. Down the road, that's a great trade for them, right? Luka taking over for LeBron, but as is, you knew they were going to be hurting defensively. You knew they were going to lose depth. And to your point, the other night, JJ Redick agreed with all of that. He literally did not trust anybody on his bench, like not one single player. So that team's really flawed. I think some of these younger teams that haven't gotten the media coverage, Oklahoma City and Houston being the main ones, are poised to make some noise in the Western Conference.
Seattle, the West, the Wild Wild West.
I mean, I would have to concur with Mario. I mean, Udoka has Houston really believing, and they're such a young team. But I think we need to note that there's been a shift in NBA basketball. There's been a shift in NBA playoff basketball. And then let me know if y'all feeling me in the chat. The referees have decided to let these boys play. You know, not too much flopping, not too much ticky-tacky fouls going on. It's physical out there. And I think that bodes well for the younger team. Now, who I have in the West is, of course, SGA. You know, SGA and the Thunder, I've always said that they were the deepest team. They're almost like the Celtics. They can almost have two starting fives. So I believe in them. But at the same time, I believe the shift of ref calls have almost went into the direction of the younger teams.
Yes.
Like a Houston, well, Grizzlies are out of it. But another young team, of course, running from my mind right now in the West.
I just feel like it's gonna be the Thunder and the Timberwolves. That's gonna be the and that's what they want to see. Yeah,
you would think, but to CL's point, I think the playoffs have been a lot, and there's been so much talk this year about the ratings and the NBA game. Like the playoffs have been awesome. That Nuggets Clippers series is like theater every minute. It's been so great. And I like to point out that Scott Foster is not officiating in these playoffs, coming off an injury. That might have a lot to do with it, in my opinion. But that part of it's cool. It's been an enjoyable playoffs, and I know this conversation's focused around the West, but I was thinking in my car today about what the Celtics are doing in the East and how good Jason Tatum is playing and how little people seem to be talking about him. And in my head, I'm like, is Jason Tatum on pace to be like the next Tim Duncan in that he's in the best system, clearly on the best team? You can make an argument the best coach, but his game is not very flashy. And he gets compared to all these young guys, Ja and Zion and Edwards, and I noticed he's the only one with the championship ring. He's trying to win.
Of them, that's
he's
right.
trying to win his second championship ring, and it reminds me kind of the Spurs back in the day.
So yeah, your thoughts on the East? Anybody? I mean, to me, it's just Cleveland. I mean, you look at what Cleveland's over there doing, and then of course, as he mentioned, the Bucks. I mean, Boston.
I mean, Beantown is just so deep as far as their second team. You know, when you can bring a Drew Holiday off the bench.
Drew Hill, the singing group?
No. You bring a Holiday off a bench, you bring a Porzingis.
Yep.
You know, you bring a number 9 White. You bring a White.
White, that's right.
You know, it's overwhelming because when they get rolling with the threes, it's a short game. And what I think people don't really realize about the Celtics is they play hard on both sides of the ball, and that's every game. There's no game that you can take off. And I think in the East, because of the age of the East, I think they need some games off, and that doesn't bode well for them. In the finals.
Unselfishness, good system. Cavs have a good system, too. I love the hire at Atkinson. That's going to be a really good series if they get together.
Well, look, y'all, the NBA is heating up. It's the finals. Each week, I'm excited to talking to y'all about it. We're going to be doing picks soon, who's going to take it all. So I'm definitely excited about that. And I'm also, once again, excited about our new sponsor, Health Nut System, the smart way to fuel performance. Make sure that y'all check out stillbody.org. Check out their wonderful products, all natural, good for you. I know y'all need those herbs and those spices in y'all body to keep y'all healthy. And like me, CL, and Mario, we're trying to get our beach body together. Mario, you stick around with us for a little while, huh?
Yeah,
we're going to go ahead and jump into the storyline that y'all all been waiting on, baby, them New Orleans Saints. We got a grade right here for the Saints. We're going to go through each of their picks, give our opinion, talk a little NFL. It's Inside the Trenches, baby, right here on ESPN Baton Rouge's YouTube. And remember, you can like and subscribe to ESPN with Marlon Favorite on YouTube. Catch some of our great shorts, great moments from the show. And we'll be back. Yeah, let's go.
Hello, somebody. This is Robert Wolf. If you are in need of construction or real estate services, project management services, give us a call at 504-393-2445.
Well, hello. Like Rob just said, hit up Robert Wolf Construction and Real Estate for your real estate and construction needs. And let them know you heard about them on Inside the Trenches with Marlon Favorite on ESPN New Orleans. Hello, somebody.
Hi, it's Alberto Montero. We got a great selection of vehicles in and out of here on a daily basis. We offer financing, all Carfaxes are online, and all our vehicles are serviced and inspected before sale. Best selection and prices in all of the New Orleans metro area. Come visit us today at 1512 North Causeway in the heart of Metairie. Come check us out at MonteroMotors.com.
Montero Motors, a proud sponsor of Inside the Trenches, ESPN New Orleans.
Hello, I'm Shelton Jordan with Lamar Crescent City Ford. If you are in need of a commercial vehicle, I'm here to help. From F-150s to Super Duty trucks or chassis to cargo vans, passenger vans, or if you're in need of a vehicle to be upfitted, we can build it especially for you. Or if you're looking for a truck or SUV, I can also help you at Lamar Ford Store in Kenner. Feel free to call me at 504-734-3579 and ask for Shelton. Lamar Crescent City Ford is a proud partner of Inside the Trenches on ESPN.
Hello, somebody. This is Robert Wolf.
Inside the Trenches.
Dentro de las trincheras.
Inside the trenches.
Inside the Trenches.
Dentro de las trincheras.
Inside the trenches.
Inside the Trenches.
Well, hello, somebody. It's time to move your body. Welcome back to Inside the Trenches. It's your host, Marlon BIGFAV Favorite, And look, man, this is the last segment of the night. Never can say goodbye. Yeah, but I'll be back next Monday, though. Yes, indeed. So, look, I'm still here with CL NOLA. I got my man Mario Jerez. And we told y'all we had to talk about this New Orleans Saints' 2025 draft class. I do have a grade. I will reveal my grade after me and my co-host talk about the picks. So I'm going to kick it off, give y'all my take. We go CL, Mario, and we're going to do it like that. And look, if y'all want to comment below, feel free to comment below. Hey, Tyler, y'all good? Y'all go check the comments for me. Let me know what they're saying and text it to us or whatever. You're like, yeah, I got you. So, yeah, just, we just do it that way, so that way we could see what y'all saying. I want to get y'all's interactions. Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle out of Texas. I wasn't mad at the pick at all. I feel like he's someone that was very decorated. He's played in a lot of competitive Power 4 football games. Here's a guy that could play across the line. I think he should start at tackle. But you can play him across the line. We don't have to really, he doesn't have any pro experience. Boy, you come from out the SEC. That's enough pro experience you need right there. You go get him ninth overall. Ninth overall starts and plays. I love the pick. I'm not going to say I'm in love with the pick like, ooh, not like that, but I at least love the pick. CL, talk to me.
I'm not mad at the pick. I respect the pick. My whole thought process was this whole draft, it had nothing to do with Derek Carr. It was more about, for me, how do you feel about Trevor Penning? And I think the Saints made a statement by getting Mr. Banks Jr., but never to not mention that he can play left guard, and right tackle, or left tackle. He can pretty much play everything but center. So we have a versatile guy, and once again follows behind what I said, an immediate impact on offense day one.
Well said, man. I like the pick, too. I think it's a very responsible pick. Trevor Penning's definitely a factor. Yeah. I think in the ideal situation, you would have your bookends in Fuaga, who you drafted last year, and now Kelvin Banks, and have Trevor Penning providing depth, because injuries are going to happen at some point during the season. So they don't overthink it. Good offensive lineman from a good school, not like a project guy.
Right.
Seems like a really good pick with your first pick.
Yes, yeah, that was something that we knew. And if y'all go back to some of our shows, I almost put it in that order. Offensive tackle, quarterback is a need, and then we were talking edge rushers, receivers in those other spots. But overall, it seemed like y'all were okay with the pick. Why does the more controversial picks come in the first and second round, right? So this one is probably going to take up a good bit of the segment, or it might be short and sweet. The Saints had an opportunity with pick 40 on the board. Shelton made a really good point earlier when he said that he knew once Shedeur got past that first and second pick through Cleveland, New Orleans is definitely going to go get their guy in Shedeur. They didn't. They went with Tyler Shuck, quarterback out of Louisville. Now, me personally, Mario personally, and probably you for the most part, I mean, you got the shades on, you put the primes on, you're on a plane most of the time, but we cover LSU Sports Radio. We do. And I had a chance to see most of the SEC games. I didn't watch a lot of Louisville games.
Right.
So most of my film on Tyler Shuck came after the season was over, when we're looking at the top quarterback. CL, I didn't send you the script late on a Monday.
Right.
That's because I'm combing through. And, hey, he reminds me a lot of Jared Goff. If I were to go quarterback comparison, I would more than likely say Jared Goff. He does have a strong arm. He throws a pretty confident ball. I saw that in a lot of his throws. Don't make a lot of mistakes. I want to say he had like maybe 8 interceptions, right over, 3,100 yards passing, 26 touchdowns. From what I see on film from a throwing perspective, is he in the tier with Cam Ward? Is he in the tier with Shedeur? I don't think he is as accurate as those guys, but he does have the arm talent from what I see on tape, and he can run. He had one of the faster, if not the fastest time, of the quarterbacks in this class. So I really think this pick is more about Kellen Moore falling in love with this guy as opposed to him being the best available, CL.
Well, when you have a new regime, you're not tied into previous guys. So Kevin Moore is not tied into Derek Carr and whatever's going on with Derek Carr in his personal life and his physical life. When you have a new regime, you want to start off with guys that you believe in, guys you feel that are the perfect fit or the better fit for your offense. What was explained to me was that they felt they were high on Shedeur, but they felt like Shuck was a better fit for what they're doing. Now, I'm not going to be mad at Coach Moore because he's coming off a Super Bowl win. I also know the limitations of a Dak Prescott when he came in the league. I also know the limitations of a Jalen Hurts when he came in the league. Mm-hmm. And as they got with Coach Moore, they elevated. We also have a Nussmeier in our coaching staff, guys that have addressed the quarterback situation and know what they need to move forward. We as Saints fans still don't have an idea of what this offense is supposed to look like. Yes. Maybe it is a Shuck offense compared to a Sanders offense, if you will. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to give this new head coach, the youngest head coach in the NFL, a chance to prove that this guy is the man. And at the end of the day, I still think it's a feather in the hat for the Saints because at the end of the day, he is a second-round pick. It's not that much pressure. You have time.
Well said. And maybe they're still feeling a lot of things out, and maybe he trusts feeling things out with Shuck more than somebody like Shedeur Sanders. But, man, that's risky. I think if you would have asked me the day of the draft, like the day after the draft, I probably would have taken Shedeur Sanders over Tyler Shuck. On the surface, man, I didn't really like the pick, I have to say, because it was a player that not only played 7 years of college but was hurt every single year except one. But the saving grace and what hopefully Kellen Moore fell in love with was that final season at Louisville, where he stays healthy the whole time. He led his team to 9 wins when they weren't projected to be as good, and he hopefully put together everything from the 7 years prior. And like Kellen Moore, who's been an OC at a lot of different spots and has coached a lot of different quarterbacks, Shuck has seen a lot of different coaches, a lot of different philosophies. A guy like Shedeur has played with a lot of talented players, but it was kind of put together coming in from Jackson State, right? Not as much of like a finished product. So that's the vision. Hopefully that is what it comes to be.
Good observations, man. I think y'all nailed it. Pretty much like most people, we weren't in love with the pick. We understood it. It was a need. Was he the best available? No, you still had Jackson Dart sitting there. You had Jalen Milroe. You had Quinn Ewers, who came off later. Will Howard, Shedeur. You had 5 quarterbacks I would have probably got before him, but they're all good, and they were able to go get their guy. All right, so the Saints did decide to go on the defensive side of the ball for their next 2 picks. CL, you were right about the Saints keeping their 2 picks in the 3rd round, valuable picks, and they got great picks with it. Vernon Broughton out of Texas, out of Texas, defensive tackle, 311 pounds, 6'5", very agile in the middle. Y'all know this show is Inside the Trenches, and, you know, his coach is my coach. That's Mikasa Sukasa. Right. Coach Bo Davis coached him in college at Texas. Did make the call for him. Right. Like he called him.
You think Coach might have had something to do with that decision in the 3rd round?
Oh, he had everything to do with that decision. Is a proven defensive tackle that just so happened to still be there. Right. You can bring in a guy in the system that they're running. 2, they went with Jonah Sanker, safety out of Virginia. I thought it was a smart pick, given the fact that Tyron is getting up there in age. He is injury prone. If something does happen with Tyron this season, it looks like the Saints are going to keep their veterans and Cam Jordan, Tyron Matthew, and also Demario Davis. I think they're going to keep all 3 of their guys, at least this year. Let these young pups learn from them, or if anything happens, they learned enough in August and September, they can plug and play. Y'all, what do y'all think about the 2 3rd-round picks for the Saints?
I won't hold y'all for long.
Go ahead, you got it.
I understand that not only Kevin Moore and Brandon Staley philosophy is to build from the inside out. Mm-hmm. Gottschall came in. We already had Brian Brzee here. We bringing in the Texas D lineman. We getting stout in that middle, guys. Mm-hmm. We were the second to last team in rushing, against the rush. So we weren't. So people was running. I think we were like 4.1 yards a carry. We was like the second worst team against the run. So we're fortifying that defensive line, strengthening it up in the middle of the field. I can appreciate it. I have no problems with it.
100% inside the
Before you
trenches.
go, Mario, my bad. So I did talk about, too, are you okay with Jonas Anchor?
Brother, we have to move on. We didn't bring back Harris at safety. We know Tyron's getting old. Jordan Howard hasn't proven any much to be a special teams player to a guy that fills in. We have to get younger, faster, cheaper. This is the way to do it.
That's how you go, Mario.
Well said. And more physical, man. Like, people were getting into the Saints second level like it was a crowd going to the Jazz Fest this past weekend. Like, they got to get a lot more physical, both running the football on offense and stopping the run. And, again, that's a responsible pick. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of the University of Texas, but these are two players that were instrumental in two straight trips to the playoffs. And as far as the Jonas pick, we were just talking about Jonas Valanciunas. I like that we brought back another good player named Jonas, at least on the Saints. So, yeah, he wants to build in the trenches, man. Kellen Moore's been very clear about that. Although he was a quarterback professionally and collegiately, he believes games are won inside the trenches, adentro las trincheras. And you just saw that with the Eagles, who he came from.
I love it.
Nice.
I love the twist, baby. Say that again. I won't get it down.
one more.
Adentro las trincheras.
Alento las trincheras.
They like it in the
trenches,
back.
baby.
Yeah.
We got it. I got it, Hannah.
Come on.
There we go. So, hey, look, listen, these are two young guys that has Power 5 experience playing. The team gets younger. Brandon Staley, Kellen Moore respects him. He brought him in. He did give him an offensive coordinator job when he went to the Chargers. Now Brandon Staley is the defensive coordinator, and as y'all mentioned, building from the inside out. 2 fourth-round picks. Danny, I want to say his name right, Strutzman.
I think it's Strautzman.
Strautzman, linebacker Strautzman out of Oklahoma. Solid linebacker. Some say he may be a starting middle linebacker here for the Saints one day. 2, Quincy Riley, cornerback out of Louisville. He traveled with the best receivers. Everybody they played against, straight lockdown corner, something we need here. Let's switch up the order a little bit. Mario, let's go to you first. Your thoughts on Struckman and also Riley, 2 fourth-round picks coming in for the Saints.
Like the pick, like you said, shutdown corner. Hopefully somebody who could take away a side of the field. The Saints have to replace Marshawn Lattimore and Paulson Adebo now. Right. So you need guys at that position for sure. And the linebacker from Oklahoma, Strautzman, that was a good player. I remember the game against Tulane. He had like 12 tackles, I think, to lead the team. And I think he brings like a presence of, again, that kind of like crazy physical linebacker type. I don't want to get myself in trouble here, but the Saints are kind of lacking that, and I think that was a really good pick. Hopefully, both those picks bring the physicality.
Well, I'm actually excited about Strautzman. We've all watched movies like
Program.
I
knew it. I was just
classic.
What was his name? Edward Latta. You know, we've all watched these young men that play linebacker with long blonde hair play like their hair's on fire.
Yes, that's what I was getting at.
I like that.
Attack. You gotta love them. You know,
Alex Anzalone.
They're a tackling machine. They're guys that love football. And what I will say that I have noticed about the guys that we've selected, we selected 9 guys, but 8 out of the 9 guys that we selected, including cornerback Riley from Virginia, they're captains. Mm-hmm. So we're working on the locker room at the same time. Yeah. We're getting guys that want to take accountability when stuff doesn't go right. Because it's easy to take accountability when stuff goes right instead of going wrong. So I like the fact that we have captains, and Riley is a guy that actually can travel all over the field. I think we need something like that because when we did the PFF numbers, Taylor is more of an inside DB than an outside. And I think with Brandon Staley's defense coming to us, we can use Taylor more in a Ramsey position and let the outside take care of itself.
Yeah, I mean, both of y'all made great points. 2 really good mid-round picks, especially with Riley. I mean, you're looking at a guy that's second-round talent.
Right.
Obviously, his size he's a shorter cornerback, but his vertical was pretty good.
Right.
And he looked good on
wasn't
tape.
that big.
For real. Hey, the Saints had a 6th-round pick, which I forgot. Like, when I was watching the draft, I'm like, oh, they ain't picking again into the 7th. And then they probably got one of their better picks in the later rounds. They got Devin Neal, running back out of Kansas. I cut the tape on. I like what I see. He's very shifty, could catch out of the backfield. Someone who could complement, let's be honest, Alvin Kamara a little bit better than who we drafted and Kendre Miller. For the 7th round pick, they went Malakiki, Montavo.
Got to learn to say that in Spanish.
I got to get that in Spanish. Tight end from UCLA. Now, I did watch his tape, and then they went Diggs, defensive end. I thought that was a steal from Syracuse. Yeah, he had his own little page at the end of the Saints little deal. So, guys, to wrap up their draft picks with the last 3, Mario, I'll come back to you first. The Saints always do an exceptional job with their late picks.
Yes, Marcus Colson was the second to last pick in the NFL draft. We all remember. I like all those picks for sure, especially Neal. I think Kamara is a little underrated between the tackles. I honestly like bringing in like a 3rd down guy, like a scat back. That could be a really good pick. And I like the rest of the picks that you listed there. But I do have to say, it's kind of wild they did not draft a single wide receiver.
I was going to bring that up.
And I know, like, personnel, there weren't that many big-bodied ones. They have a couple of small guys already in Shaheed and Cooks. But that's a position they felt they just had to bolster. And the fact that they didn't do that, that definitely scares me just a little bit. But the rest of the picks, if they hit, I think were responsible picks, even in the later rounds, and that is probably my biggest concern, the not picking a single wide receiver.
Now, hold on, bro. Not only did they not pick any wide receivers in the draft, I look at the undrafted free agents that they brought in. They didn't bring in any receivers there. Talk to me, bro. I mean, we didn't brought in another subject now. Give me your thoughts on their last picks, but also the receivers.
I'll deal with the picks first. I'm excited about Diggs. Everybody's saying it already, how he was an impact player. So I went and watched his highlights. I'm watching him sack Cam Ward at Syracuse. I need everybody in New Orleans to readjust your thought process on how we rush the quarterback moving forward. Our rush people will no longer look like 6'4", 275-pound defensive ends. We have edge guys, skinny guys that can bend and get around the corner. So these will be the guys that, moving forward, will get pressure on the quarterback. And I think Diggs is the perfect prototype of that. When you talk about Neal went to the University of Kansas. There's another great Hall of Famer that went to the University of Kansas. His name is Gale Sayers.
Gale Sayers.
This young man has broken Gale Sayers' record at Kansas, leads Kansas as all-time leading rusher, and still had enough receptions to have 700 yards worth of receiving. So he is definitely a dual back. And when we got the best outcome out of Alvin Kamara, it was always he had someone to complement him. So I think it's smart to get back to complimenting Alvin so we don't burn him out, so he's not keyed on every play. And I think that moves us forward. Now, the last thing I was supposed to bring up was the
wide receivers.
The wide receivers.
That was, okay. None.
Look at it like this. Like Mario said, the big guys were gone when it was time for the Saints to draft. But we still have chances to get a free agent wide receiver like a Cooper, like a Keenan Allen, whatever floats your boat. But at the same time, I think they're also interested in what Bub Means can do. I know we haven't said that name for a long time. He had a rough rookie year, dealing with some injuries. Obviously, our offensive line, our wide receiver coach, we didn't help him out at any point in time. I'm not sure if he'll be that 50-50 ball man, but we also know when you get inside the trenches and when you get inside the draft and cuts and everything, they'll build somebody that'll become available. But I think with the 9 picks, the Saints did address all needs, but obviously not every need. And sometimes you just can't because it's a numbers game. I'm interested to see what they do at wide receiver.
All right, you bring up wide receivers. Let's see who we have. I'm just looking up some names that may be available.
Keenan Allen sounds like it's a real possibility just because not just the demand for him isn't going to be quite there at his older age, but he has the experience with Kellen Moore as well. And great observation about Bub Means, man. You just activated the part of my brain that thinks about Bub Means. It hasn't been activated in months. But watching the games, he was low-key one of the more consistent receivers when he was playing, so that's good. And the most exciting part of all this, you mentioned it with the defense, is we're finally getting some new philosophies, man. And defensively, Dennis Allen, his philosophy was good for a while, but probably getting stale.
Fell on deaf ears.
Yeah, and offensively, it seemed like for years, whether it was with Kubiak or with Carmichael or whoever, they were trying to run the Sean Payton, Drew Brees offense without Sean Payton or Drew Brees. So just some new ideas, some fresh philosophies has to be really exciting if you're a Saints fan.
Okay, I'm still looking. I mean, I don't really go ahead. Well, I'm gonna go ahead, Sierra.
Even to go full circle moment with the Shedeur Shuck situation. I definitely wanted Shedeur, but I didn't want Shedeur to come to a bad offensive line. I didn't want Shedeur to have a non-existent running game. I didn't want Shedeur to have a defense that couldn't stop a Cole as far as running the football. So we're always down and we're always coming back. I wanted him to be in a solid situation that he can show all his talents. Obviously, that's not Cleveland, but it's not about what I want either.
Exactly.
So, but just to be sure, if coach them feel like Shuck is the guy, I'm willing to give them that opportunity because we know for the rest of their lives, Shuck and Shedeur will be connected forever. And whatever transpires moving forward, we know that when they look at Shuck, they're going to be looking to see what Shedeur does.
Okay, so I don't see – this is the list of all the guys that have already made moves. So I am interested. I'm going to have to pull that up another time. But to y'all's point, one thing that is for sure is we're going to have a big-body veteran receiver come in there. Because, I mean, you look at the Saints' depth chart in receivers – everybody like 5'11", 6 foot. I think Bub Means might be the tallest, like 6'1.5", 6'2". But to y'all's point, man, they do have to bring in some veteran weapons. I like the name Keenan Allen. That would be a perfect fit on this roster, y'all. And we'll just have to continue to see what happens. But they clearly got to have their eyes on some guys. Final thoughts here, guys. CL, we'll go with you first. Final thoughts on the Saints' draft. Oh, I'll give the grade after they finish their final thoughts.
And I won't go crazy on the wide receiver position because if Coach Moore decides that he wants to run the ball 30-some-odd times and maybe only throw the ball 11, 12 times, which was the recipe in Philly that helped them win the Super Bowl, I have no problem with that. I'd rather run the ball with an attitude and help the defense out anyway. So I'm willing to wait to see what the direction is.
Well said. And I guess if I'm going to say something nice about the wide receivers, I guess I'll say I'm still taking up camp on Chris Olave Island. Like, that seems like kind of a hot take. I think he's a number one, and I think he's a hell of a wide receiver, man. This was the first year he didn't put up 1,000 yards, and that's with a lot of instability at quarterback. The concussions are a thing for sure, but I think that was more of a product of just bad timing, bad luck. Derek Carr throwing some hospital balls for sure, but the game is there, and I think he's going to hopefully be an instrumental part of the future.
Derek Carr, very interesting name. I know this has been a topic all day. Derek Carr was in Vegas at church yesterday. He had some words. Hallelujah, amen. But my shoulder is really messed up. You can check it, but they're saying this, and it's some people that have podcasts, like, to heck with all of them. They don't know what they're talking about. Hey, some of these people on TV, what's up with the deflecting, y'all? Y'all thoughts on Derek Carr before we wrap it up?
Go ahead, yeah.
My thoughts on Derek Carr is I know the motion of guys that want to be in New Orleans. No matter how bad they talked about Mike Thomas, Mike showed up at Children's Hospital. Mike showed up at Toys for Tots. I just don't see the love affair with Derek Carr in the city, and I can understand the beef or the discourse, whatever you want to call it. I just see that a quarterback that wants to be in the city, he just moves differently, and he doesn't report because it was his camp that let the shoulder information come out. So I just don't trust his intentions, and I don't now at this point. I don't want him in the way of the younger guys and taking reps and snaps away from the younger guys, knowing that we're moving forward anyway, and he's not a part of the future
So you're trying
plan.
to see Weezy out of here, basically?
Yeah, I would tend to agree. Like, as people point out the stats and like he has a winning record and all this, but just the way he portrays himself in the media, man, he doesn't do himself many favors. And I know he said he was going through some personal stuff and he's trying to be sympathetic and stuff like that, but it still doesn't explain why, he says one thing, the Saints say another thing. And it reminds you a little bit, as ironic and kind of hilarious as this is, reminds you of Mike Thomas a couple years ago when he was having injury problems and not being honest with the team and kind of creating a rift there. And when all that went down, I thought it was really, really telling that Michael Thomas still doesn't have a job. He's still a free agent in the NFL, but not one single Saints player kind of stood up for Derek Carr. And when Michael Thomas was saying all that on Twitter, so I think that spoke volumes. We'll see what comes of this mystery injury. We'll see if he's magically better sometime soon. But right now, it looks like they want to move on.
Well, oh well, baby. It looks like that car train is going to go ahead and car its way on out. We'll have to see soon. Technically, he's still on the roster. He did not show up to OTAs, but he definitely was at church in Vegas. Well, it's Inside the Trenches, baby. I'm your host, Marlon Big Favorite. He's CL NOLA, Mario Jerez. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to tonight's show. Before I go, I got to give a big ups to the folks over there in the studio, for Tyler, for Damian, for Wes, UP, baby. Spin somewhere listening. Shouts out to Spin. Shouts out to Camille, everybody who contribute to this beautiful set, the audio, the sounds, everything for this show. Big ups to all of our sponsors, Conquer Sports Pros, where elite athletes get the edge. Be sure to check them out on Instagram at Conquer Sports Pros. Big ups to Montero Motors, 1512 North Causeway Boulevard. Check out their latest used vehicles on MonteroMotors.com. Shouts out to Robert Wolf in Construction, baby. That is right, 143 Lapelco Boulevard, right there in Gretna, Louisiana. Call 504-393-2445 if you are looking for house elevations, reconstruction to your house, buying or selling. You need to fix your back door. Holler at my people over there at Robert Wolf Construction. Let them know that you heard about them right here on Inside the Trenches. Big ups to Lamarck Ford, Crescent City. All my subcontractors, contractors. Y'all heard Sheldon earlier, man. He had some big-time deals. Some of them were like 5-figure discounts on some of the vehicles. In this climate, y'all need to call him right now, 504-734-3579. Tell them that y'all heard about him on Inside the Trenches. And last but certainly not least, Health Nut Systems, the smart way to fuel performance. Holla at my girl over there, Dr. Andrus. Check out her products and order them today at stillbody.org. Well, that wraps up today's show. Tonight's show, should I say. Y'all have a great week, a blessed week, a fulfilled week, and we will be right here next Monday in the studio, 6:30 p.m. on Inside the Trenches on ESPN, Baton Rouge's YouTube. Peace, love, and hello, somebody. Peace.
Hello, somebody. This is Robert Wolf. If you are in need of construction or real estate services, project management services, give us a call at 504-393-2445.
Well, hello. Like Rob just said, hit up Robert Wolf Construction and Real Estate for your real estate and construction needs. And let them know you heard about them on Inside the Trenches with Marlon Favorite on ESPN New Orleans. Hello, somebody.
Hi, it's Alberto Montero. We got a great selection of vehicles in and out of here on a daily basis. We offer financing. All Carfaxes are online, and all our vehicles are serviced and inspected before sale. Best selection and prices in all of the New Orleans metro area. Come visit us today at 1512 North Causeway in the heart of Metairie. Come check us out at MonteroMotors.com.
Montero Motors, a proud sponsor of Inside the Trenches, ESPN New Orleans.
Hello, I'm Shelton Jordan with Lamar Crescent City Ford. If you are in need of a commercial vehicle, I'm here to help. From F-150s to Super Duty trucks or chassis, to cargo vans, passenger vans, or if you're in need of a vehicle to be upfitted, we can build it especially for you. Or if you're looking for a truck or SUV, I can also help you at Lamar Ford Store in Kenner. Feel free to call me at 504-734-3579 and ask for Shelton. Lamar Crescent City Ford is a proud partner of Inside the Trenches on ESPN.